Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Denis Dziubanowski weighed only a perilous 1.5 kilograms when his Ukrainian refugee mother, traumatized by the war in her homeland, gave birth to him prematurely via caesarean section, leaving her unable to breastfeed him.
A UNICEF-funded milk bank in Poland set up for mothers in crisis came to the rescue of Evgenia Loshkarova last September, giving Denis access to milk and psychological support and lactation advice for his mother. Loshkarova, whose husband died last year in Bakhmut as a volunteer soldier, only a few days after seeing his son in Poland, said she was deeply grateful for the UN-backed milk bank in Poland, which has taken in hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians who fled Russia's invasion. It is such a great help both for the health of the baby and in fact for the psychological comfort of the mother. When a baby is born prematurely, it is always very stressful because something has gone wrong. With the help of UNICEF's program, more than 300 mothers, about 20% of them from Ukraine, benefit every month from various services in 10 hospitals hosting milk banks in Poland. Head of the Human Milk Bank Foundation, Aleksandra Wesołowska, said these women were under a lot of stress and some had suffered war trauma in the initial stage of motherhood. Overall, over 5,000 Ukrainian children have been born in Poland since the beginning of the war, and these mothers are women who, first of all, have very great difficulties in the beginning. At this early stage of motherhood, they are under a lot of stress and some of them experience war trauma. Therefore, indeed, these mothers need this lactation support much more often, as much as the psychological support, and the lactation problems occur more often with them. This element of support and help is the most important. Milk from the Human Milk Bank is nutrition, but of course it is also the expression of women's solidarity. Karolina Dabiak, a former Polish health and safety worker, has donated to the milk bank since August of 2022, 2 months after giving birth, as she realized she was producing more milk than her infant son needed. By donating human milk, I think about the woman I am helping, because I know mothers who tried to breastfeed, but because of various obstacles they are not able to do it. On the one hand, I am helping the mothers, but on the other hand, what is even more important to me is helping the little ones who are coming to this world. A milk bank in a hospital in Zielona Góra used donated milk to tube-fed Oleg, the son of a 36-year-old refugee Olena Lyubimova. Doctors in Ukraine advised her to terminate her pregnancy because of uterine fibroids she had developed due to stress. She gave birth prematurely after arriving in Poland and has since benefited from the UNICEF program's advanced perinatal care.
Last night, the Russians carried out a massive attack on Ukraine. Russian missiles fell on Bakhmut and Odessa, among other places. 8 people were killed in Kherson, including a 5-year-old boy. The aggressors also attacked Kiev. According to preliminary information, all Russian missiles were shot down. Shrapnel from the missiles caused numerous fires. Falling debris during a Russian air raid started 2 fires in the eastern districts of Kiev, officials said earlier today, as eastern Ukrainian regions saw deadly missile attacks. The head of Kiev's military administration, Serhiy Popko, said on Telegram that the Ukrainian capital had been attacked by Russian cruise missiles and that all of them were downed by air defences, providing no information as to casualties. 1 person was also killed and 2 injured after a Russian missile strike on an industrial facility in the southern Ukrainian city of Odessa on Thursday, according to officials. At the moment of the explosion, I was home. I heard 2 explosions. I can't tell you the exact time because I was asleep. Then, after about 20 to 30 minutes, I got a call about a fire in my garage because of the debris. I came here, saw the situation. Rocket debris, damaged car, damaged garage. This is the situation in short. There was a very powerful explosion. Then I saw the smoke. I found out that debris fell on the garages. My one is nearby. I can see the rocket debris now. Striking drone footage released earlier showed residential buildings hit with intense artillery fire in Bakhmut, the devastated city at the centre of fighting in eastern Ukraine. Reuters was able to verify the location from the buildings, kindergarten, road layout and fields seen in the video, which matched satellite and file photography of the area. Reuters was not able to confirm the date the video was filmed. Today, Ukraine's military said it had made new territorial gains in heavy fighting around Bakhmut, despite being outgunned and outnumbered by Russian forces. In the past week, Kiev has said it has stepped up pressure on Moscow's troops to the north and south of Bakhmut. Russian mercenary forces say they have moved forward inside the city, where Kiev has acknowledged they have made small advances. Earlier today, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said the United Kingdom is in dialogue with the European Union on the concerns of automakers post-Brexit.
Well, on this particular issue, it's something that car manufacturers across Europe, not just in the UK, have raised as a concern. And as a result of that, we are engaged in a dialogue with the EU about how we might address those concerns. When it comes to auto manufacturing more generally, I'm going to be meeting the CEO of Nissan later today. As you'll know, they've invested £1 billion in the northeast for electric vehicle manufacturing. It's great to be here in Tokyo to start my trip to Japan. And the first stop is the Yokosuka Naval Base, where we are now. That's because we're announcing a new defence partnership with Japan today, and the closer cooperation between our armed forces, our cyber agencies, and indeed our semiconductor companies and researchers will all strengthen our security at home.
Automaker Stellantis has warned British car factories will be forced to close with the loss of thousands of jobs if the government does not renegotiate its Brexit deal immediately. The owner of the Vauxhall, Peugeot, Citroën and Fiat brands told Parliament that under the current deal it would face tariffs when exporting electric vans to Europe from next year, when tougher post-Brexit rules on local and EU content value to avoid tariffs come into force. Sunak will meet business leaders as Britain prepares to join a Trans-Pacific Trade Pact, which includes Japan and Australia, also aimed at addressing the threats of Russia and China. Japanese businesses have committed to invest almost £18 billion in Britain ahead of a meeting with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on Thursday, including funding for offshore wind power and other clean energy projects. Yesterday, United States President Joe Biden departed for Japan ahead of the G7 summit. The three-day summit starts on Friday, after which Biden will return to the United States amid discussions on the nation's debt limit. United States President Joe Biden told his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida, that the United States and Japan will hold Russia accountable for its invasion of Ukraine.
So under Japan's leadership, we've already delivered progress on the G7 agenda this year, and I'm looking forward to our meetings in the days ahead. As you said back in January when you were at the White House, I think the quote is, we face one of the most complex environments in recent history, security environments. And I couldn't agree with you more. But I'm proud that the United States and Japan are facing it together. And, we stand up for the shared values, including supporting the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereign territory, and holding Russia accountable for its brutal aggression.
The G7 summit runs from Friday to Sunday, and member country leaders are expected to discuss a possible tightening of sanctions on Russia and security concerns about China, among other topics. Differences among the nations about how to deal with China emerged after French President Emmanuel Macron visited Beijing last month. He called for the European Union to reduce its dependence on the United States and cautioned the EU not to get drawn into a crisis over Taiwan driven by an American rhythm and a Chinese overreaction. A United States official said the G7 would focus on the need to support developing countries hit by recent shocks, including debt and climate change, and leaders would rally around the need for bold action to accelerate the transition to clean energy. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.